Okay, hi, welcome. Today is November 2nd, 2021. And I want to thank you for joining us for the Humanities Beyond Bars Oral Histories Project. I am Professor Tiffany Tsantsoulas at CSU Bakersfield, and I'll be conducting this interview with Hector Martinez at CSU Fullerton. And so let's just dive right in. I actually want to start with your relationship to the CSU and tell us a little bit about what you're doing at CSU Fullerton right now.
Okay, so I'm currently a senior at CSU Fullerton. I am a Project Rebound scholar. I am also doing an internship here at Project Rebound, where I have 4 mentees that I look after, which is phenomenal. I love it. I'm also just recently joined the outreach team for Project Rebound, which we reach out to students on campus and just just try to get the students to know more about Project Rebound. I'm a business major and in business administration with a concentration in general management, and I think that's it.
So just a little bit, just doing a little bit of stuff. Yeah. Can you think back to your first day on campus? What did that feel like? First day you stepped on CSUF campus?
It was surreal. Honestly, I almost wanted to pinch myself to think to because it didn't seem real to me. For me to be on this campus, it was huge. So it was like I couldn't believe that I was actually here. That I made it this far. So I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't want to go to class. I knew like I was in front of class like half hour before, and I was hesitating to go in even up until the time I had to. So it was pretty nerve-wracking, but I managed to walk into my class first day, and it's just kind of been smooth. It got easier as each day went by, but it was pretty scary.
And were there particular programs or people that you encountered that really helped you to get over some of that nervousness or feel supported?
Project Rebound for sure. I mean, I didn't even know where the office was at first. Once I figured out where the office was, I walked in and I saw a few familiar faces there from a previous orientation that I had with some of the staff at Project Rebound. And so it was good to see a few familiar faces, and they're the ones that started telling me about the resources on campus, the tutoring for English and for writing and for some of the statistic classes that I had. So that was very reassuring to know that there was help out there, especially Project Rebound.
That's great, and it's great to hear. And we'll talk a little bit later about how you're, giving back in that sense, being involved in the Project Rebound community there. Let's step all the way back now, and I want to ask you about your childhood. What was it like growing up? Where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Bakersfield. I grew up in like the first years of my life as a baby, all the way to about 14 or 15 years old. I grew up in Bakersfield. And then later I moved to the Los Angeles area. But as a child, I grew up in Bakersfield, and growing up in poverty neighborhood with a lot of drugs, gangs, violence, and then so that was kind of like my upbringing. I had real love. I had good, loving parents as far as to me, but their relationship was pretty toxic. So, but yeah, my brother, my cousins, everybody around me, they were all in gangs and drugs and everything that goes along with that. So that's what kind of the environment I grew up in.
And did you like school when you were a kid?
As a young man, or I would say like elementary, junior high, I didn't really care for it, to be honest with you. Elementary probably was the only really time that I liked school. Once I got to junior high and higher than that, it was different. You know, I had to go. You know, having the friends that I had, there were different rules, and I had to do certain things, and like there was really no school after that. You know, I mean, I showed up to class because I had to, but I didn't really pay attention. I was thinking about what was going to happen when I got out of class. I mean, there was no really fun. The fun disappeared for sure.
So do you think that there are elements of your childhood and maybe the disaffection with school that led to your experiences with the justice system, with incarceration?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Just, you know, growing up with the family that I did, with the friends that I had, you know, even though I had the choice, I guess we all have a choice, right? But you know, the environment makes you pick a choice really quick. You know, like you kind of have the choice to either, you know, you either go with the flow or you don't, but then you deal with other situations and other problems. So yeah, my environment for sure led me to everything that I went through.
What about role models growing up? Was there anybody that played that significant image
Well,
in your life? Mm-hmm.
for sure, I did have role models when I was real young. I was too young to appreciate my mom, which later became my biggest role model. But you know, as a young kid, you know, your role models are the people that are around you or the people you look up to. And my brother and my oldest cousin, they were my role models, you know. And but you know, as far as role models, you know, they were gangsters, you know, and they had a lot of respect, and they had a lot of girls, and they had the nice cars, and you know, they were a lot older than me. So to me, that was like, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to be. So that's the role models that I grew up with.
And so at what age did you first start to get involved with the justice system, and what age were you first incarcerated?
Well, I say this plain, but at the same time, not really plain. But my mom told me that the first time I got arrested when I was 3 years old. And I was like, you got to be kidding, right? Well, it just so happened that I walked out of the house at 3 years old, and I my nanny wasn't taking care of me. The door was open. I walked out. I ended up like about a mile away from my house, and you know, the police officer saw me and pulled over right away because I was like in Pampers, and like they're like, what is this kid doing walking around? Like there was nobody around, you know. So they went and picked me up, and as soon as they tried to grab me, I kicked the cop. I kicked them in his leg, you know, because I didn't know who he was. So they grabbed me and they took me to jail until they finally figured out that I was lost. Somebody called, you know, it took a few hours before they realized that I was gone, and they found me. But at that point, I was already like in a cell. And but I mean, that's not the real time that I've been. I was 15 years old when the first time I got arrested. But it's kind of funny that you say that, because it's at the same time I want to like joke and say that that was the first time, but it's not really the first time. I was 15 years old when the first time I got arrested.
And for how long were you incarcerated?
At that first time or overall?
You can just tell me about, you know, the if there are multiple times, the multiple times.
That very first time, it was you know, I was underage, so they gave me a chance to call my parents, and I thought if they pick me up, cool. If not, well then. But you know, my mom was, like I said, my mom was very supportive growing up. So she picked me up right away. And it wasn't, that just kept on happening over and over again until I turned 18, and she couldn't, you know, like she couldn't help me anymore. So, but, just overall, I mean, it was, I would, like I would say maybe 6-7 months, is what I ended up doing mainly in county jails, in LA County and in a Texas facility as well, and in a county facility in
And so
Texas. I'm sorry.
while you were in the facilities, did you have any experience accessing education, accessing books or classes?
No, I mean, honestly, I at that point, even before that, I hated school, honestly. So that was the last thing on my mind. Even if there were books there, like I didn't like to read. So education was the last thing on my mind.
Did you see others accessing classes? Was that something that you were aware of being available, or?
I mean, I knew it existed for sure, but like the people around me, they were young. They were just as young as me, and we were in there more for other reasons, like they had our plans politically in there. Our plans were different, so the education was not part of it. So I knew it existed, for sure, but I didn't care for it.
So what changed for you when this desire for learning emerged, I guess, a little later? What changed for you after that period in your life that led you to see the value in this thing you used to hate or not be interested in?
Like way in the back of my head, even though I was going through whatever I was going through, I thought one day I want to go to college, but that never really popped in. Like I never pursued it until like I was a lot older, and I realized that through some of the choices I made when I was young, my life changed. So when I was younger, being around drugs, gangs, and all that, I ended up getting shot when I was 21. From that, I started getting complications, health issues, and stuff like that. So by the time I was 41, I hope I'm not jumping too back and forth here, but at the age of 41, by then I needed a liver transplant, and I ended up getting one at the age of 41. And then kind of my life got kind of stuck there, like I couldn't work anymore, and the people that I was still hanging around with were still getting arrested. They were getting high, drinking, and I realized that like I needed to get away from these people, like I need to get away. I need to do something better with my life, And so when my oldest son graduated from high school, he told me that I told him, you have to go to college. That's not an option. And then he goes, well, you didn't go to college. So if you didn't go to college, I'm not going to go to college. And at that point, I think I realized that I needed to do something not only for myself, because I wasn't doing nothing with my life. I was hanging around with the wrong people, I needed to do it for my family, my son. So, when he told me that, I went and registered to a local community college, and I applied, and I showed him my classes. I came back home a couple of weeks later, and I showed him, look, here are my classes. So now you have to go to college. And he was like, wow. So he did. So that was kind of like a little bit of my son and a little bit of just hanging around with the wrong people, not doing nothing with my life. I decided to do that. Honestly, I didn't plan to continue with school. I just wanted to join one semester so my son could join, and then I'll drop out, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do with myself. But that was 7 years ago.
Like that. It's a very powerful dad move there. Make sure that he doesn't have an excuse.
Right.
It sounds like that connects a lot with the mentoring work you said you're loving doing right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, why do you think what strengths are you bringing to that kind of mentoring relationship?
Well, I mean, I am a little bit older than the students that are there, not too much, honestly, because a lot of the mentees that I have are pretty close to my age, but they're not your traditional student. Of course, a lot of them they've been incarcerated for years, and school wasn't a thing for them, and they're the ones that ended up going into a system where they had, like, you had not too many choices, so many years being incarcerated. You figure you want to do something positive in your life, and my mentees were all in that situation where they decided to go to school inside, a lot older. They started going to school, so as they came out and now they're going to school, I want to be able to show them the things that I was scared of when I started school, and just we talk about our experiences in our life, and it's always I've always wanted to help, even when I was young, even when I was a little kid. That was always instilled in me, like to help others. I think I saw it in my mom, and so I think I've always advocate for the people that didn't have a voice, So yeah, I think that's where it comes from.
And what are some of the challenges that you find in this kind of mentoring work that you're doing? What are the hard parts?
Just I don't want to bug them, I don't want to but at the same time I want to make sure that they're doing good. So some of the challenges is that sometimes they don't reply back to me, they don't email me back. I email them or I text them, and there's deadlines to meet, and some of them are a little bit on the slower side, so I have to constantly be like, hey, don't forget, I do this. Sometimes I realize that it's not that they forget, it's just that they don't know how to maneuver the system, I realized this last week. We had a deadline on Friday to turn in some paperwork, and I told one of my mentees, how's it going? And he's like, oh, that was on a Tuesday, and the deadline was Friday. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it this week. Like, what do you mean you're gonna do it this week? You had 2 months to do this. So I had to sit down and literally show him how to download a document, how to save it on the desktop, how to email a professor. Some of the things that you think that they should already know, being here at Fullerton, and they don't know at all. They don't know how to set up a Word document with a 12-inch font, Times New Roman, simple stuff like that your traditional student would probably know, but we're not traditional students, so we need that somebody to hold our hand per se. So I think those are some of the challenges. It's just getting the mentee to open up. There's a wall there, not only for myself but for them, and there's that what's it called, where you think you could do it all, and that's the way I was. I didn't want to. It was hard for me to ask for help, and I thought I could do it on. And I can't think of the phrase that you call it. The macho. I don't know what it's called, but anyways, so it's like you're trying to get them to open up and just say, hey, I need help. As a man myself, I was real stubborn. I didn't want nobody to help me. I figured I got to do this by myself. But it wasn't until a professor told me, hey, it's okay to ask for help. We all have to learn one way or another somehow. Somebody has to teach you. So I started you know what? I'm gonna let my guards down and just let people help me. That changed my whole perspective on education. Because once they started helping me, it was a lot easier. And that's what I'm trying to get these individuals to understand that it's okay to ask for help, not to be embarrassed or don't be shy. I asked for help. So I think those are the biggest challenges.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful and a smart observation. I think a lot of the time we confuse vulnerability for weakness, and
Exactly.
they're not the same thing.
Right.
So you said, you had that wall up too, and you needed to realize, and things got a lot easier for you when you recognized that you could ask for help, and those issues of accessibility you're bringing up certainly are things that I know institutions are trying to work on. But what were some of the other obstacles that you faced in this journey you had toward higher education that brought you to where you are now? Did I lose you? Oh, you're back.
I think I could barely hear you. I think I did lose connection for a little bit.
Yes, I think so. I'll just repeat. So I was asking about obstacles. Oh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So aside from the kind of wall you had up, personally, what were there other obstacles that you had to overcome in terms of getting into higher education, succeeding there, getting to the place you are now?
Besides asking for help,
Mhm.
some of the obstacles that I had was just I mean, I have family, a wife and kids, and it was with me when can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yeah, the video keeps freezing, but I can
Oh,
hear you.
okay. I don't know if I should change my Wi-Fi. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi. Um, Hopefully it doesn't. If I use my personal hotspot, see if that works. But some of the challenges that I had was just, first of all, asking for help, and then I have a wife and kids, and it was hard for me to, when I got involved with school, it's like I had to learn so much that I had put so much time and dedication to just learning, going to tutoring, and finally, when I decided I'm going to go to tutoring for all my classes, like I was never home. So, like not being home, I felt disconnected to my family. And it was hard to continue the education and thinking, like a few times, I thought I was going to lose my family because I wasn't spending enough time at home. So it was like, do I continue? Do I stop? I don't want to lose my family, but I do want the higher education. Um, I think those were probably the biggest obstacles for me,
Mhm. What
that I could
about,
think of right
yeah,
now.
yeah. Um, did you ever have experiences of stigma or prejudice when you were on campus relating to your former incarceration? Was that,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, you know, some of I think some of the professors were okay with it. They weren't too bad. I think it was mostly the students around me. They just saw me. I think like they would kind of look at me sideways. Like and they would. But I was like, I just said, "Oh, they're kids. It's okay." I kind of just didn't let it get to me. Like I got bigger things to worry about than somebody like looking at me different. So, but yeah, it was there. Of course, it was there. In the community college, me and my friend started a club, a school club called the Pinta Club, and the Pinto Club, well, the Pinto is anybody that's been incarcerated for over a year in a prison, right? So the Pinta in Spanish is basically the joint, right? So we started the Pinta Club just to help students. We wanted to get that population of students that were incarcerated to come out and just know that it's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Um, you know, we wanted them to mentor them and help them because, you know, like with myself, I was having a hard time in the beginning, you know, and once we started meeting students and they realized like, oh yeah, it's okay, you know, it's not, you know, they were more open to letting us know that they were incarcerated. We didn't push it on them. We didn't ask. They just, it came out of them, you know. Once it came out of them, we were able to tell them, hey, do you know about this resources? Do you know about this and that? It's like, oh no, I didn't know that. Like they were like in a shell, you know. So we started to uh, let people know like uh, what the help that was out there. So we started helping people. So we made a club and we had like so many members, and then we just started going out to the PAC meetings at the probation office and the parole office in different cities, Whittier, El Monte, you know, Pomona, talking to inmates that just got released. So like the outreach started at the community college, but we were going out into the community and started to outreach and just talk to other inmates that to pursue a higher education, you know. So it kind of like took a little snowball effect and it just continued, you know. I think I went off topic.
No, no, you didn't at all. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's great. I'd love to hear more about this club. So you were doing outreach, you were also doing stuff on campus, kind of socially getting together, supporting each other.
Yeah, we had events on campus. This was at Chief Community College in Rancho Cucamonga. Yeah, but we had events. We invited colleagues like that were in other schools, Cal State Long Beach, Cal State LA, Cal State San Bernardino, Cal Poly Pomona, you know, that were students that were already either graduated from bachelor's, gone on to the master's, or already had a doctorate. So we were bringing them into the campus and have events out in the quad for people to go and just say, hey, look, you know, it's okay if you've been incarcerated. So, you know, look at these people. They're success stories, you know. This guy's a lawyer, this guy's doing, you know, like, so a lot more students were able to come up to us and say like, hey, how do I join? What do what do I, you know, they just wanted to get more involved. And to us, it was just more like mentoring them to, it's okay, bring down that wall. It's not, you know, it took me a while, but, you know, I had to go through it and then tell people how to do it. And then just, you know, show them where the resources are, you know, like I wish we had funds to help them like here in Project Rebound, but we graduated and moved on before we could do that. So, but it was good to help students, you know.
Yeah. So you didn't have institutional support for the club. This was run by students.
No, we didn't. We were trying to. We were working on that for the last year we were there. There was already a program at Chaffee Community College because some of the professors were already going into CIM, and they were going into the Chino prison either virtually. I think they started to go there physically. So they already had some kind of system going there at Chaffee where they were teaching inmates at the Chino prison and the girls prison, I think in this Corona, no, Norco, at Norco. So there was already a system within Chaffee, but it was more direct from like professors to inmates, not like a club like us that was like the middleman, or you know what I mean? So we were trying to get together with the school to see if we could connect and continue that, but there's so much politics involved. We weren't able to get to it.
So what do you think was driving you to put in all of this work to form this kind of community of formerly incarcerated students?
Well, I mean, you know, I have a lot of family and friends that are still incarcerated. Um, I would I would like for them to continue to. I would like for them to even um, start some kind of education. Instead of just being stuck in there and um, following the norm. Like politics and doing things. They're not being productive. So I have nephews and cousins, and I have a lot of family that's incarcerated, and I want them to know that there's something like, okay, you're in there, whatever mistake you made, and you're in there, but do something productive with it. And I feel that I if they see me doing that, because I do feel that they looked up to me for the wrong reasons when they were young. But now that I'm older, I want them to look up to me for the right reasons. So I'm hoping that not only helps my family, but anybody and everybody that's willing to listen and to hear that there is a better way.
Can you tell me what you think those right reasons are?
The right reasons to get a higher education.
Well, you said you want them to look up to you for the right reason, not the wrong reason.
Well, right. So I think the right reasons is that how I changed my life, like from where I grew up and the things that I was involved with. They looked up to me for those reasons which weren't positive. Now I think the positive reasons is that, I'm away from all that neighborhood, that the gangs, the violence, the drugs. I've been sober for over 10 years and like completely sober. Nothing, absolutely not even a drink of alcohol or nothing. So, they knew me as somebody else, and I want them to see that not only am I drug free, but I started to go to school. Now I'm getting educated, and I think those are the positive reasons that I want to influence on them now. I feel bad that I influence them in another way. Now I'm hoping that at least I could try to influence in the right way by being drug free, alcohol free, gang free, and everything else free.
And actually, when you first interpreted my question, I do want to ask you that too. What to you is the value of an education?
Just I wanted my kids to, I felt like my kids didn't, your kids look up to you to a certain point because you're their dad and you're their whatever, but as they get older, they'll get to a point where they're starting to like realize, they start to know more about who you really are and like what you're doing with your life. And, it just so happened when they were getting junior high and high school, I couldn't work. I stopped working. Like they saw me at home and not doing much, like I wasn't going to school, I wasn't working, I couldn't work, I had just got a liver transplant. So it was hard for me to go back to work, disabled. And I think I wanted to show them that, okay, you know what, I may not be able to go back to work, what I was doing before, but I'm going to do something in my life. I'm going to get a higher education, and I'm going to continue to, get a higher education as much as I can, and then get a job where they could be proud of me, because I felt like before it wasn't enough to me. At least that's what I thought. So I wanted to be able to pursue a higher education to get a job that they would be proud of, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I think there's a sense of self-worth that you're describing there. Mm-hmm.
Right. And also to know that I'm not a quitter,
Yeah.
I started this journey and I said I was gonna just stop at associates, but I started to love school, and can't get enough of it. So now I'm done with my bachelor's, and I thought I'm going to be done at bachelor's, but I don't want to stop. I want to continue.
So let's talk
So,
about that. What sparked this love? Was there a class you took, a particular professor?
that led me to continue education.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at first, like I said before, I thought I was just going to join for one semester to get my son to go back to school. And then it was that one first semester, that one class, I had an English remedial class that wasn't even worth taking English classes, right? The hardest professor to me, as far as English or writing was concerned. It was the remedial class, but it was the hardest. She was so hard and tough that she molded me into um, I want to say into the student I became. She made me uh, like I had to go to tutoring or SI, right? The supplemental instructor that she had. I needed to go above and beyond to be able to just get and pass the class, So, her and the SI for that class, I've always reached out years after, and I've thanked them for being so hard, and for being there for me. The SI was really like she was the reason why I continued to go to school, and the professor, because she was so hard and strict, that when I took the next English class, it was so easy, and then I took the next class, and it was still easy. So I was like, man, that lady really like molded me into the student that I became. And so in my third English class, my professor, I had wrote an essay about the riots in the alley riots in 93, 93, 92, 93, somewhere around there. I wrote something about my personal experience that happened to me, and my critical thinking English professor told me, like, hey, you might want to think about submitting this paper into a contest. And I thought, like, a contest? I just barely wrote the paper for your class. I'm not going to submit it to a contest. But he pushed and pushed for me to submit it, and I did. So I just said, all right, I'll do it. I took it and got it revised, and I submitted it. And then he come into his office, and he goes, I want to tell you that on May, whatever, you're going to be presenting this essay. And it's like, I was like, what are you talking about? So he told me that I was one of the top 10 of 300 that submitted that essay. I was one of the top 10, and I was gonna we were all gonna present, and to a big, like, to a lot of people, like staff and students. And I was like, what? I go, no, I'm not gonna do it. And he goes, well, you have to, because you already submitted it. And he showed me the flyer with my name on it. Like, he goes, we already sent this to everybody. You can't back down. So I was like, man, what did I do? Like, I was so upset at myself at first, but then I thanked him later, because he pushed me to go ahead and submit. And I went up, and I said my essay. He made me the first one to present, so I could just relax afterwards. And after that point, I knew that that higher education was something that I needed to do. He pushed me over that the me being scared to speak. I was always afraid to speak in public, and he pushed me, and he got me through that hump. And ever since then, I thought, I'm going to continue that. So it was those two professors that really made me pursue higher education.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. I mean, it sounds like you were presented with these high standards, and as you said, they were pushing you, and you realized you had something in you to meet and exceed those standards. So now, as you're facing graduation, what are your dreams? What are the next steps?
Well, for sure, I want to apply to a couple of grad schools, San Diego State, Cal State Long Beach, and even here at Fullerton. I want to pursue my master's in higher education. So right now I'm saying just that, but I don't know. I mean, let's see how it goes with my, if I do continue and I get accepted somewhere and I pursue grad school, I don't know, maybe I'll continue more after that. I really don't know, but I honestly don't think um, I would do more than a master's, only because it's already taken a toll on my family.
Mhm.
So I think if I get to my master's and I figure 2-3 more years, and I mean I'm not I'm not that young, so I can't really pursue this too long, because then I'll have to apply for Social Security or something.
Um, okay, so I want to talk about your work with Project Rebound now. What kind of unique skills or particular attributes, because of your life and your experience, do you think that you bring to Project Rebound on your campus?
I think that me being I'm easily to I think I have the verbal skills to be able to be a mentor, to be able to talk to people, like to talk to the students that are walking by and tell them about Project Rebound. That's always been something that I'm I don't have a problem when I'm comfortable. I don't have a problem talking to anybody. I could talk, like, I'm just really, I feel that I have that skills to be able to talk and not be shy once I'm comfortable with something, and like with Project Rebound, helping um, the incoming students with whatever issues that they have. It doesn't matter if they can, whatever it is. I feel that I have not only the knowledge but the experience, because I am a little older than your normal student. So I'm not I'm not shy to just to help anybody that needs my help. So I think the knowledge and the experience that I have could help any student, not only at Project Rebound, but at, at any level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And in what ways has Project Rebound been an asset to you in your
Oh
journey
man,
as a student?
Project Rebound. Sorry, there's a mosquito right here. Project Rebound is, man, they've helped me so much. Like the programs that they have. They have a sober scholars, which is something that you know I like. I was attracted to it right away. Knowing that there's an organization here that keeps us from going back into any type of addiction. We have a group, like it's a group meeting that we have every week, and we talk about this, talk about that, whatever it is, but keeps us from that addiction. That was one of the first things that I loved about Project Rebound. And then we have peer to peer, which is just students getting together and meeting once a week, once a month, and just talking about whatever. Like, hey, what do you do for tutoring, or how do you study? And like, it's just a community within ourselves, and just talk about whatever's on hand. Like if it's midterms, hey, what are you doing to study? And like, or what are you doing for self-care? Like, so that peer-to-peer is valuable to all of us in that sense, where we could um, unwind and talk about what we're doing to get through these uh, difficult times when it comes to tests and midterms, or personal, anything that we're going through personal. So Project Rebound has so many communities. They have Rebound Scholars, which is another organization that I'm a part of. That it's we do community events. Like we went bowling a couple of weeks ago here at the school, and just, hey, let's get together and let's let's unwind, let's kick it, let's do something fun to get, because we need that, there's a lot of pressure that we all have in our own lives, school, work, and everything that we're doing. We need that one day to unwind, So they've given B and a lot of the students here so many outlets to be able to succeed. I feel that every single one of those outlets are there for us, besides the financial help that they've given me. I mean, that's a whole nother book with chapters in it, that's helped me financially, from a parking pass and helping me with my books and the meal assistance, like there's just so much Project Rebound has to offer.
So what has it been like now with your family? How do you think that they see this newfound journey you're on in higher education?
So in the beginning, I think it was hard because they thought I was just doing it to get away from the house. But, like, because I honestly said I wasn't serious about it. So when I was never home. I think that's where the bad, like everything that was going bad for me was happening because they thought like, well, why are you even doing this if you're not even taking it serious? Like you're just never home, and I'm not the kids don't see you, and my kids were like, where are you at all the time? But now that I graduated from the community college and with a few associates, and then like they see me that my journey through my bachelor's program is like they saw that I was getting through it. It's like, whoa, this guy's serious. So I think they're more acceptive to the fact that I want to do something with this. Now that I mentioned grad school, and they're like, all right, well, if you're really gonna do this, do it. So the support is there for sure. I just have to find more time to spend with my family, which I've done within the last, I want to say the last couple of years. I've made it a point to drop everything and spend time with my family. So I have. So they're really supportive. They're more supportive now for sure.
That's great. Yeah, it's hard. That balance is hard. I think all of us struggle with it. I know I do too. I think I have one last question for you, which is, if you could travel back in time, what would you tell young you? What would you tell your younger self?
And I would probably tell myself to like some of the things that I did, knowing now what I know now. If I knew it back then, I would probably tell myself not to pursue certain friends and not to do certain things. I definitely probably would have considered my education more seriously. Um, I would definitely pursued like college right out of high school. Like I would have told myself like, don't hang out with these friends, don't do this, don't do that. And I would have really pushed myself to pursue a higher education. Oh man, if I would have pursued that higher education when I was young, at this age, I probably would be retired already. Like I wouldn't have, I don't know, that's my thought. I think that I would be able to have like my retirement goal would be so close. Unlike when I kind of have to really start, which I don't mind, but I would definitely tell myself to pursue a higher education as soon as I got out of high school, for sure.
So is there anything that you think I didn't touch on that you want to add to this oral history?
No, I think you did a great job. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Oh, we appreciate it too. Thank you for sharing your story and being part of this project. I need to let you know that I'm going to conclude the interview, stop recording, and a transcript will be made available at some point soon that you can review.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Mhm.
I appreciate it.
Otherwise, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure getting to know you over the last 40 minutes or so and hearing your story. And it's been a pleasure hearing about all of the good work that you're doing and that it seems like you've really been doing. As soon as the door is open for you, you kind of walked through and then reached back and opened that door for people right behind you. So that's
For sure.
very
I try.
commendable.
Thank you.
All right, Hector. I will say take care, and
Thank you.
we'll end the
It
interview
was a
here.
pleasure.